Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. My name's Neil and it is time for the next episode of Lost. We are right in the thick of things right now, guys. The run we're on with amazing episode after amazing episode. There was numbers where it's 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. These numbers have power on the island. These numbers have power in Hurley's life. They affected Danielle to no end. And and they're on the hatch. And we have no idea what they ultimately mean, but we're eager to find out. And then in Deus Ex Machina, episode 19, we learn Locke's backstory, how his mother who put him up for adoption, he ended up in foster care, tracks him down just to get some money from Locke's biological father because Daddy Dearest needs a kidney transplant, and they basically use Locke for that. And then episode 20, Boone dies. You know, I didn't know that this was going to be a series that was going to start killing off series regulars this early. And, well, Boone wasn't, one of those central figures. He was certainly a regular. He was a familiar face. He had a very interesting backstory, and boom, he's dead. A ton, obviously, to unpack. Just powerhouse episode after powerhouse episode, and I feel like we're just ramping up towards the season finale now. Apparently, it's a 3-parter, so that means we have episode 21, we have episode 22, and then we have 23, 24, 25 as the 3-part finale. I can only assume these next 5 episodes are going to be completely bonkers. I'm excited because I get to watch 2 of them, 21 and 22, tonight. I could talk about what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 episodes for an hour. I'm not going to do that, but let's talk about something simple and light. Let's talk about destiny and the meaning of life. I have a feeling that we're going to, as the series progresses, talk more and more about fate, destiny, luck, the fact that there are outside forces that control what happens in your life. Whether you believe that or not, I think it's certainly going to be a topic of conversation. We've had hints at this from the very beginning when Charlie wrote fate on his knuckles. Hurley is told you make your own luck, but he doesn't necessarily believe that. But I want to talk about Locke in particular because I feel the more I get to know Locke's character that I believe that he believes he is destined for something great. His whole life has been a search for meaning in a life that really hasn't had much, at least from what we've seen. He was abandoned by his mother, never knew his father, grew up in the foster care system. The only 2 jobs we know he's had, he worked at Toys R Us or a similar store, and then he worked in worked at a box company that Hurley happened to own. Neither of these jobs appeared to be especially fulfilling, and yet he's got this strange positivity even in these difficult circumstances, which makes me think he's looking for something more. Let's not forget why he went to Australia in the first place. He wanted to go on a walkabout he wanted this spiritual journey. He wanted either to find purpose or to realize purpose or something along those lines. He wanted to find meaning in his life because everything we've seen in his flashbacks is his life was fairly empty. He didn't have any relationships other than with the phone sex operator that he paid to talk to, just for conversation. He was belittled by his boss. He was abandoned by his parents. He's always been looking for more. I get that sense. Well, now the numbers come into play, and the last number is number 42, and if you're any sort of science fiction reader in the last 50 years, You know the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and you know that 42 happens to be the answer to life, the universe, and everything. It is literally, in that story, the meaning of life. So I don't think it's any coincidence the writers chose 42 as the meaning of life, as one of the numbers. The meaning of life is one of the 6 numbers. Let's leave it at that. So Locke is, and if Locke finds the numbers, if Locke finds how to use the numbers, I feel like that will open the box, open the hatch, open Pandora's box perhaps, but will take us to the next level in the story. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but I feel like it's going to happen, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if it happens in the season finale. So Locke is searching for meaning in his life. He feels like there's a higher purpose, that he's meant for something special. And when this miracle happens to him, that he can suddenly walk after being paralyzed for 4 years, that must reinforce that belief in him to no end. No wonder he's got such amazing faith in the island. This is where he's been meant to be his entire life. This is where his true purpose will be revealed. And the fact that he discovered the hatch, he just knows that this is his purpose. And his faith was tested in episode 19 in Deus Ex Machina, tested to the absolute limit, and he begged at the altar of the hatch, and he was rewarded with that light. Now, we never saw Locke in episode 20 because we were so focused on Jack trying to save Boone. That was the central storyline. We don't know what's happened since then. Now, episode 20 only really took place over a few hours, really. So we may be picking up pretty much where we left Locke off at the hatch next time we see him. But I'm very curious to see if we get into the hatch anytime soon, or what Locke's next step is, because he's received so much reinforcement from the island that he is there for a greater purpose. He's been given his mobility back. He's been given these visions that have come true. True visions about Boone's childhood, about a plane crash that nobody knew about. Here's one more thing to ponder before we finally get into this episode. I'm sorry I ramble. I hope that most of you guys don't mind. I hope that what I'm talking about contributes to your understanding of the show in some small little degree. But yeah, here's one more thing to think about. In that Beechcraft plane crash, tons of Virgin Mary statuettes. Virgin Mary, Immaculate Conception. In Locke's flashback, his mom told him that he was in an Immaculate Conception. And instead of scoffing, Locke's reaction was interesting. I almost think that there was one small part of him that believed it or wanted that to be true, wanted him to be special in some way like that. Well, here's something interesting. His biological father's name was Anthony Cooper, which means if Locke took his father's name, his name would be John Cooper, which means his initials would be JC, Jesus Christ, Immaculate Conception. Just putting it out there, mind blown, crazy. That's enough to think about for now. Let's watch episode 21 of season 1 of Lost. This one is called The Greater Good.
Previously on Lost.
3 points of a triangle.
Where are you?
Are we finally going to answer who knocked Saeed out? That's exciting.
Locke said you fell from a cliff. It's because of the hatch. What hatch?
I don't know where she is.
Where are you going?
Find John Locke.
Man, that's like the most dramatic intro ever. So much in there. Man, I guess it's telling that of the last 3 episodes, the least dramatic is Boone dying.
Is there anything I can do for you?
It's certainly powerful, but I feel like it's almost overshadowed by the reveal of the numbers and Locke's backstory. Shannon gonna somehow blame herself?
This is a special security announcement.
More Saeed. Oh. What was he doing? Oh, in London. How did he end up in Australia then?
I'm Melissa Cole from Central Intelligence. This is Robbie Hewitt from ASIS. We're here because you're going to do us a favor.
Last week, 300 pounds of C4 explosives were stolen from an army base outside of Melbourne. The men responsible are members of a terrorist cell intent on disrupting the coalition presence in Iraq.
I am not a terrorist.
We didn't snatch you up because you were a terrorist, Said. We snatched you up because you know one.
Her?
Issam Tazir, your roommate at Cairo University. He's a member of the cell.
Why should I care?
Because we know where she is.
Oh.
Noura Bed Jassim.
Is she in LA? Is that where he was going?
You want to know where she is? Then we're going to Sydney.
Interesting. Is she tracking Locke? Is she gonna find the hatch? Or Jack?
Kate, what are you doing out here?
Looking for you. You need to come back.
Not without Locke.
You haven't slept. You gave Boone your own
Locke
blood.
lied. Boone did not fall off any cliff. His leg was crushed. And I based my medical treatment on his lie.
I need you to come back, Jack. Please?
Man's looking lightheaded, that's for sure. Oh, man. I like that Son and Kate are becoming friends. That's really cool.
Shannon, you want to say something?
I didn't know Boone very well. And for that, I'm sorry. On our 6th day here, a woman named Joanna died. She drowned. And Boone was the first one into the water. I know he will be missed.
It was my fault.
Oh, he's back.
We found a plane in the jungle. It was lodged in the canopy, so there was a radio inside, and he thought he could happen because he was trying to help us.
It's the truth. Not one word of a lie, but it doesn't feel...
Where were you? Where the hell were you, you son of a bitch? What did you do to her?
Jack.
What did you do? Where were you?
Man, Jack really doesn't handle losing a patient well. Man. No funeral decorum whatsoever.
Jack? Jack, what's the matter? Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, God.
Get some water!
What is Saeed?
He's lying.
You're suffering from fatigue.
Locke told Boone not to tell. Something about a hatch. Locke's hiding something.
Get some sleep.
I'm fine. I don't need it.
You are not fine.
You need some rest.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Oh, that's his friend. Look at him going undercover in Australia.
Said, it is you.
Assam, so you haven't forgotten me. How is Sarah?
She died. Stray bomb while she was shopping for a dress.
You know, that's what radicalized him. And I bet Saeed knew that was his entry point.
Perhaps it's not happenstance that you and Assam met at the mosque.
Welcome to the cell.
Perhaps
it was fate.
It is fate.
Fate, destiny, luck.
What if he needs something, okay?
You'll be there for him after you sleep.
No, okay? No.
She's so afraid to have it raised by another even for a minute.
This was his.
Thank you.
Hard to know what's going on in her mind. She's so still and quiet.
I hope you can forgive me.
You asked if you could do anything for me.
What does she want? Very curious.
Anything.
John Locke killed my brother.
Oh man, is she about to say killed?
Will you do something about that?
She wants Locke to die. Wow. I know Saeed has killed, but I can't imagine he'd be cool with that.
A little more.
No. I'm gonna talk to Locke.
No, you need to lie down.
No, I don't.
I strongly advise it. Lie down, okay?
Did she just drug him?
I crushed up some sleeping pills. Put them in your juice.
Just sleep, Jack.
War wound.
Donated a kidney.
Looks more like a surgical scar.
Like I said, war wound.
Some of its parts might work in the transmitter I'm building for the Ra. If you'd be willing to take me.
Oh man,
Locke.
this is really interesting. Just
You
these
and
two
Boone were
guys
hunting.
alone.
Is that a question?
It really makes me think Locke was the one who knocked Saeed out way back then.
You said your leg was injured.
It was just a Charlie horse.
No, also giant amount of shrapnel.
Maybe there's a part of you that thinks maybe there isn't a plane out here at all.
I know when I'm being lied to. There's a plane.
All I know is there's going to be an operation. And there is going to be a martyr.
Is he gonna martyr himself?
You.
I don't think I can do it.
No one should be able to do that.
Listen to me. I can get the Sam to turn himself in. He wants out.
Does he know where the C4 is?
No.
No.
Then he's useless.
He's in over his head. He doesn't even know why he's doing
That's
it.
why you're going to convince him to go through with it.
No, I will not.
Excuse me?
What are you going to do? Arrest me?
No. We'll arrest her. So if you want any chance of ever seeing her again, you're going to go and talk your good friend Assam into blowing himself up.
Man, the CIA sucks.
All right. Time to break out the big guns.
Burp time.
Wow, I feel good. No.
Freaking early.
I knew that I would now.
Not working.
Dude, that's all I got.
Why don't you trust me, Saeed?
For one thing, you've been carrying a gun you've told no one about.
Okay, I'll tell you something you don't know.
Please do.
You were hit from behind, knocked unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
When you woke up, the transceiver, your equipment was destroyed.
What does Locke know about that?
That was me.
Okay, that's what I've hoped, but the fact that he's saying it.
This is one time you better not be telling the truth.
I did what was in everyone's best interest.
You ruined my chance to find the
The
source.
source of a distress call that kept saying they're dead, it killed them all over and over. Is that a place you really want to lead people to?
What is the hatch?
2 hatches on a plane, Saeed. Could be forward or aft.
Is Saeed gonna buy that? I don't think so.
I'm not sure if I can do
Maybe
this.
he is. Maybe he is.
True, innocent lives will be lost in service of a greater good.
The greater good.
What if I'm doing this because they killed her?
What if you are? Should we just accept what happened to Zara? What about all the others like her? Do we just accept their deaths? Because if we do, it means ultimately we care nothing about them.
Man, he's persuasive. But you can tell it's eating him up.
I lost someone too, Sam. There need to be consequences for those responsible. That's my duty.
Man.
That is how I will honor her.
Saeed must have been so frickin' in love to make his friend do this.
It was fate that brought us back together.
Also the CIA.
Will you do this with me?
Will you martyr yourself too?
I will.
Part of her really loved him.
I spoke to Locke.
What did he say?
He took me to the plane. I believe what happened was an accident.
So that's it?
Shannon.
Just forget about it, okay?
And she needs her vengeance. And she's not going to be interested in Saeed if he doesn't give it to her.
What if a shark attacks?
Sharks ain't getting anywhere near us, man.
What if we die?
Man, there's a heavy question.
Hey, Chucky, want to keep that kid quiet? Baby Huey's like nails on a chalkboard.
Sawyer doesn't like babies. Well, that's negative points.
Say something. Say anything.
Okay, fine. I like that thing a lot better inside than I like it outside.
Sawyer's the baby soother.
What?
Brought you something to eat.
What's in it? Chloroform?
Soup.
Well, thanks, but I think I'll...
Oh, the key.
Who's in here?
Locke took the key. It wasn't Locke.
Who is it? Who is it? Oh, no. Shannon. Oh, this isn't gonna end well for her.
It's time. Stay relaxed and focused. Drive with the windows down.
724. Oh. 24/7. But not our hero numbers.
If you run into any problems, you are heroes. Good luck.
So they've just been given the whole truck full of 300 pounds of C4, rigged to explode. Say 724. Don't you get 72 virgins if you make it to paradise as a martyr?
We'll be okay.
I'm working with the CIA.
What?
I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get away before I call them.
You used me to find a woman?
He's got the gun.
Well, let's save. I hope she makes you whole again.
Oh no. Oh. Terrible. Yeah, Jack isn't recovered yet.
Go! Go!
Oh, it's gonna be Saeed versus Shannon.
She doesn't believe me, Saeed.
He did it. I know it.
Oh man. Guns are never good news.
Never fired a gun before. Oh! If you do it, you can never take it back.
Stay back!
I told you it was an accident.
Shannon.
Jack, you told me he was a liar.
Jack's gonna say I was wrong. What?
No!
No.
I'm sorry.
Don't.
They're over.
Get away.
They're over. Did she hit him? Did it graze him? Yeah. Just a graze.
This smooth riding sports car offers a bewitching blend of pace, comfort, and economy.
Anyone figure out what car that review was about?
Perhaps I made a mistake.
Couldn't let her kill Locke. You had no choice.
There's always a choice.
She lives in Irvine, California. Plane ticket, walking around money. You're on an oceanic flight to LA. It leaves in 2 hours.
Oh man, it was that recent.
What happens to his body? A Muslim man is supposed to be buried.
Yeah, well, there's no one to claim the body.
I'll claim him.
You can't claim him when you're on a plane in 2 hours, mate.
Then change my flight to tomorrow.
Oh, interesting. He ends up on 8:15 to claim his friend's body. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Everyone's fate put them on that plane.
How's your head?
It'll heal.
I hope that's
Another
not the
war
gunk he
wound.
put on Boone's head.
Thank you.
I did it because I sense you might be our best hope of surviving here. But I don't forgive what you did. And I certainly don't trust you. And now, you're going to take me to the hatch.
The real hatch.
No more lies.
I love that Saeed saw through that. It's about time. It's about time somebody beyond Locke knows about the hatch. Somebody that Locke doesn't have complete control over like a Boone learns about the hatch. Because there's smart people on the island, and I don't know why Locke... Well, I do know why Locke is keeping it to himself. He's keeping it to himself because he feels like it's his destiny. We talked about this in the preamble. He's meant to figure it out. He's been listening to the island. The island has been rewarding him, and he's the one that needs to find the way into the hatch. Whatever his destiny is in there. And if somebody else opens the hatch, then he may lose out on whatever, on his destiny, on his fate, on the meaning of his life. So I get it. But man, has he made some enemies in this episode. Everyone thinks he's a liar. A lot of people think he's responsible for Boone's death. Nobody trusts him. Yeah, he's not doing himself any favors. It's a good thing he's ridiculously capable. But he's got a steep uphill climb to regain a comfortable place in the community of survivors. I'm very curious to see when we go to the hatch, whether it's just going to be Saeed or whether more people, whether, you know, it's going to be a handful of people Like Jack deserves to see the hatch. Especially Jack. Jack deserves to see the hatch, but I feel like everybody should know about it. I want Hurley to see the hatch because Hurley will see the numbers on the hatch, and I don't know what the numbers are so important, but nobody. I don't know how they're important, but Hurley will recognize that those numbers matter, and that's an incredibly important thing. Somebody in the comment section said maybe Locke didn't see the numbers, and I just don't buy it. I mean, like, Locke he's so obsessed and possessive of the hatch. I feel like he's examined every square inch of the exposed hatch. He must know about the number. He must have seen the numbers. He may not know what they mean. He may just think it's a serial number or something, but he's seen them. He's seen them. And yeah, I do not know where this is going, but I like that we're making progress. I feel for Shannon. I feel for Shannon because she hasn't yet said a thing about how she actually feels about Boone dying. We saw her initial silent reaction at the end of episode 20 when Jack told her in the distance and we didn't hear any of their dialogue. And since then, she's been quiet and withdrawn and not especially emotive. So it's hard to tell whether she's in shock, or there's anger, or grief, or that horrible mixture of all three that happens when somebody really close to us dies unexpectedly. And so I feel for her, and she needs some sort of closure, because I'm sure on some level she feels some guilt or responsibility for his death. Like she didn't want anything to do with her brother because they crossed that line that they shouldn't have crossed. Maybe in her mind that's what drove Boone to spend all his time with Locke. You know, maybe if they were closer, maybe if their relationship was better, then Boone wouldn't be with Locke, Boone wouldn't be dead. I think the way she's reacting tells me that on some level she loved her brother too. And maybe even in the way that you're not supposed to love your brother. But she at least knew that she couldn't act on that, shouldn't act on that, wouldn't act on that. Of course, she did eventually. Saeed's like a super interrogator. You cannot lie to him and get away with it. Because if anyone has been able to manipulate other people and the way they're thinking on the island, it's been Locke. I like that I got confirmation that Locke was indeed the one who knocked Saeed out way back when they were doing the triangulation. I'm surprised that he told Saeed that, but it's nice to know. I think the reasoning that he explained isn't the full story, but it's a good cover story. I think the real reason has a lot more to do with Locke not wanting to leave the island, as opposed to them being led to somewhere dangerous. But maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe that's also why he isn't particularly interested in all of Danielle's notes and maps, because he feels that they may only lead to death and destruction of some sort. You know, I think at some level Locke may have a bit of a Christ complex. You know, right from the beginning, I've sort of said that he's taking the role of the high priest on the island. There's more and more religious connotations attached to his story, you know, Immaculate Conception and the like. So I really like where this is going. In a weird way, this was a bit of a breather episode in relation to what's come just recently, which is an insane thing to say when we're talking about terrorist cell and suicide bombings and the desire for revenge killings and everything else that happened in the episode. But it was a quieter episode than the last few. The last few have been such high energy, such high stakes for extended periods of time. And this certainly had its climaxes, but there was a lot more quiet and peaceful moments, you know, whether it was just Kate keeping an eye on Jack after she drugged him, or Charlie trying to quiet the baby down. It just gave us room to breathe, but I feel like that might be the last breath we really get to take and properly inhale and enjoy, because I feel like it's just going to be a roller coaster ride for the next 4 episodes. I feel like we're just slowly climbing up that big hill at the top of a roller coaster, and we're approaching the top and we're about to plummet down and just scream our heads off for the next 4 episodes. Thank you, all of you. When I'm recording this, we're incredibly close to me getting my 1,000th subscriber, which blows me away. I started this channel maybe 10 weeks ago, and I had no idea whether I would find an audience. I had no idea whether people would be interested in listening to me and my rambling thoughts. And you Losties were the first fans that found me and told me that you were interested. And I owe a great deal to the Lost community. I really appreciate your support, all the feedback, all the encouragement. I'm having a blast with this show, and I've said it before, I'll say it now. So much of that is because of how welcoming the community is. And when I say the community, I mean you. Thank you very much for being part of this experience for me. I've never watched television like this before. I love TV, but I am not a talker. I hate people that talk during television. It's crazy, I know, but I'm a silent watcher. I pay attention. I don't want distraction. I just want to watch and learn and figure things out and pay attention to the story. So I wasn't sure whether doing a reaction would really suit me or not. But I find I'm actually paying more attention. I'm thinking more about what I'm watching. It's a very rich experience, and I don't know if I really expected that, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a new way for me to watch TV, and I'm so glad that the first show I decided to do it for was this one, because I really do feel that this is a special show, and I'm having a great time watching it. So again, thanks to all of you. Until next time, take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.